Hello everybody, hello children, hello parents, hello guardians, hello brothers and sisters, and hello to everybody who makes sure and takes care of children, making sure that they receive the best care ever. Okay, so I want to share something small with you today. And this is in regards to the lesson and some of the things that we are doing. It is such a great privilege that we have this opportunity to be able to share together the word of the Lord, to be able to learn the word of the Lord, not just with the children, but also with everybody as a family. So what I would like to ask you is that I want all of us to be able to participate for the next 30 minutes or so together with the children, okay? One of the things that we realize is that children best learn when they receive help and assistance, okay? So it is there for us as parents, as guardians, as older brothers and sisters to be able to help the children even as we continue learning, okay? Some of the things that we do is that we are able to read the Bible together with the children. So even as we read the Bible, some children are still very young and they are not able to read the Bible. So I would like for you to be able to open the scriptures with them and be able to read with them. As we give the story, even as we say the story, some children could lose attention and they could get distracted with a thing or two here and there. It is there for us, as parents, as guardians, and just to help the children to pay a little bit more attention and even to ask questions and to ask them to keep on concentrating. When we are doing our art and craft, okay, we realize that some of the children are still very young and they're not able to either write, color, or even cut out some of the things that we are doing. It is there for our place as parents, guardians, and even older brothers and sisters to be able to help them through that. The other thing about the art and craft, this is something that can be a reminder, okay, for the whole week until we do our lesson again, or even a continuous reminder of some of the lessons that we are learning with the children. As we go through the Bible, one step at a time, I would like to ask you, parents and guiders and everybody else, just as a family as a whole, that you would be there to be able to help to grow our children, okay? I want to share with you a scripture which is found in Luke chapter 2, verse 52. And this is what he says. Jesus grew up into a man. He became strong and he could understand more and more things. People thought that he was a good man, and God also thought well of him. Okay, this is where we get our theme, where we say growing up in God's ways. As children, as the children continue growing, I want us as parents, as guidance, as brothers and sisters, as a family as a whole, to help children to grow in God's way. So welcome to our lesson today, and I hope that God will bless you in everything that we do.
Hi kids!
Hi kids!
Welcome to our lesson today.
Yes.
We're so excited.
We are so excited.
So much even as we teach you guys.
Yeah.
Yes, and we're also learning in the process.
Yes, I love this lesson. It's a very exciting lesson, and I really love it, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. It's very, very important, okay?
Yeah.
So today we are talking about the
tabernacle.
Yes.
Which is the special tent of God.
Yes.
You remember we said that God was giving
Moses instructions up on the mountain. Yes.
To build the tabernacle.
Yes.
So now we're going to see how they actually built the tabernacle.
Yes. So Teacher Rachel, I want you to take us through how they started building the tabernacle. With the first thing is
the courtyard, which is the fence.
Yes.
Yes. So God had specific instructions. Even the fence itself, He had specific instructions that He gave to Moses about how the tabernacle was to be built.
Yeah.
So the first thing that you met when you go to when you talk about the tabernacle was the fence.
Yes.
Now this was the fence to the tabernacle, and it was rectangular in shape.
Okay. So rectangular a short side and then a long side and then this other side.
And then two sides are actually equal. Two opposite sides are equal.
Yeah.
So it was rectangular in shape, and then it had posts all around, posts or pillars all around it, and then it was covered with fine linen.
Wow.
These were curtains that were made of fine linen.
Yeah.
So on one of the longer sides, which was actually the south, and also on the north side.
Okay.
So these are the two long sides of the rectangle. There were 20 posts.
Okay.
20 on one side and 20 on one
So there were 20
side.
posts on one side and then 20 on the other side.
The other side.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Then on the west side, which is one of the shorter sides,
yes,
were 10 pillars.
Yes, 10 pillars or 10 posts, okay?
Yes,
so
10
this side is
pillars or
20, this side is 20, and then the
this
other side is 10. Okay.
So remember, kids, these pillars had curtains like all around them.
Yes.
So the other thing, they had bases that were made of bronze.
Yes. So the pillars are the ones that had the bronze bases.
Yes,
Okay,
bronze
cool.
bases.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and then they also had hooks, and they had rings that held the curtains from where the curtains
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So now on the east side, the other shorter side was the entrance to the tabernacle.
Okay.
So this was important because it was kind of made different. Now all the other pillars had curtains hung on them.
Yes.
But now on the entrance, which is the eastern side, we had 2 curtains that hung on 3 pillars each.
Okay.
Yes. So there were 2 curtains, and then they hung on 3 pillars and 3 pillars.
Yeah, and then that's another 2 curtains, and then on 3 pillars.
Yes. And then right after these curtains were 4 posts on each side.
Yes.
So there were 3 and 3, then there were 4 and 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So there were 2 curtains that hang on these 3.
Yes.
So each curtain hang on 3 pillars.
Yes.
So these curtains that are on these 3 pillars were actually fine linen.
Yeah.
But then they were embroidered. They had threads. They were embroidered with threads that were made of scarlet and blue and purple.
Wow. So scarlet. What color is scarlet?
So scarlet is color red.
Yes.
Yes, but we'll call it scarlet
because that's what they called it. Yes.
But then it's actually color red. Like in your mind, it's color red.
Yes.
So it had red, scarlet, and blue and purple.
Yeah.
So that made the entrance to the tabernacle.
Yes. That curtain must have been very beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Okay. That curtain that was right there must have been very beautiful.
Yes.
So right after you entered through this curtain, so you remember that's the entrance. So there's all this woven linen all around, but then that's the entrance where there are those curtains. Okay.
Yeah.
Right after you entered, okay, the first thing that you met is something called the altar of offerings, or sometimes some people call it the brazen altar.
Yes.
Okay. Now this altar was actually 7 feet. By 7 feet by 7 feet and by 7 feet.
Huge.
Yes.
That's very
7
huge.
feet is actually like the size of a door. A little bit taller than a door. Okay. So when you think about 7 feet, because like now for me my height is about 5'5", you know. I think Rachel is also the same. So you can imagine it taller, but now it was a square all round. So it was 7.5 feet on all the sides. Okay. Now then the other thing about it, it was 4.5 feet tall. So it was almost this high.
Yes.
You know. So this is 4.5 feet, and then it's 7.5 feet, 7.5 feet. So that means it was very big, and it was very big. Now this altar was actually made out of acacia wood.
Wow,
okay.
Yes.
And then it was overlaid with bronze, both on the outside and on the inside. Okay. So it was overlaid with bronze. Okay. And then now even on the side of the altar there were horns. There was like 2 horns on that end and 2 horns on this end, and they were also overlaid with bronze.
Yes.
Okay. Something else about this altar, like almost halfway through. Okay. There was like a mesh inside.
Yes.
There was a gretel or a mesh. Okay. And now this mesh is where they were able to place their offerings, whether it is the animal offering or the grain offering. Yes. And they were able to place them there, and under they used to put in wood, you know, and they would be able to burn the offering. Okay. So that is about the brazen altar. The other thing that the brazen altar also had, like there were other utensils. Okay. Now these other utensils were actually used, you know, they had shovels for putting in and removing the ash, or even removing the coal. And we'll tell you where else they used the coal that was coming from the brazen altar. So they had shovels, they had meat forks, okay, they had shovels, they had meat forks, they had basins, and then they also had ash pots that were actually all made out of bronze. Okay, so that is what you found right after you came into the curtain. What was the other thing after that?
So right after the altar of the burnt offering, was right in front of it was the wash basin.
Yes, a wash basin.
So this wash basin is actually called a
laver.
Yes, a laver. So this was made of bronze.
Bronze, yes.
It was made of bronze, and then it had a stand which was also made of bronze.
Yes.
And then this basin was filled with water.
Yes.
Now this is where the priests would wash their hands and their feet before they enter the tabernacle.
Yes, this is where they washed. And you know the priest was who? Aaron was a priest, and his sons were also the priests, so they would wash themselves over there. So then now we come to this very important and very special place.
Yes.
Okay, so now everything that we've been talking about was outside.
Outside the tabernacle.
Yes,
yeah.
but then now we start getting into the tabernacle. Now this is how the tabernacle was built. It was a tent.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
you remember, because they were living in tents and they were moving from one place to the other. This was also a tent. Okay, so it had a frame.
Yeah.
Okay, so it had a frame. Okay, and this frame was made out of acacia wood. Okay, and then this frame was also connected to some other posts or poles.
Yeah.
Okay, now so this is the frame. Okay, it's made out of acacia wood. Okay, and then now the posts were also made out of acacia wood. But the thing about these posts, they were overlaid with gold.
Wow.
Okay,
Yes.
yes, so they were overlaid with gold, and then they had silver bases. Okay, remember the outside, the one that was making the temple court,
Yes,
they were
the bases were
made
bronze.
Okay,
Yes.
but now these bases are made out of silver, and this wood has made for the pillars actually was overlaid with gold.
Wow.
And then the frame was also made with acacia wood, and some of the crossbars were also overlaid with gold.
With gold,
Okay,
yes.
something else that how they were connected. So the frame was connected to the pillars with 2 gold rings on each. So there were 2 gold rings, and they used to be able to connect the pillars together with the frame.
Wow.
Okay, and then now the other thing about this frame is that it was covered with different types of cloths on them.
Yeah,
okay?
that must have made it so beautiful.
Yes,
I can
yes.
just imagine.
Yes, so the first cloth, they did different types of cloth just to be able to protect it and to make it waterproof. Okay?
Yes,
So
yeah.
the different cloths that they built, the first cloth was actually fine linen.
Fine linen.
Yes, it was fine linen that was woven together, but this fine linen was not just fine linen. It also had the same color threads. You remember the scarlet,
The blue.
the blue
And the purple.
So this cloth was actually made of scarlet, blue, and purple,
Yes.
and it was woven inside, and that is what covered it. Okay, and at the end there were actually pegs that
Wow.
were holding this cloth
To
down.
okay.
Yes, so now it was covered on top of this frame, and they were holding it. So that was the first layer.
Okay.
So then now the second layer was actually
The
goat's hair.
Yes.
So after that cloth, there was goat's hair. So
Yeah.
they had this material that was woven with goat's hair, and that was something else that also covered it. Okay. So right after the goat's hair was ram's skin or sheep skin. Okay, and it's the one that was also used to cover. Now this sheepskin was dyed color.
Dyed red.
It was dyed red.
Yes,
Okay, so that also made it very beautiful. So they took goat skin or sheepskin, sorry,
Yeah,
and they
sheepskin.
covered it red.
Yeah.
Now the last layer was actually badger
Badger
skin. Okay, if all of you know, there's an animal called a badger.
badger.
Okay, and it has very tough skin, and so that it can be waterproof, and that is what covered it right on top. Okay, so after we've seen what is on top, there's something else. Now we've seen everything that covers on top, but at the entrance,
Yes.
what was at the entrance?
So at the entrance was also another curtain.
Wow.
But now this curtain was skillfully and very beautifully embroidered.
Yes,
It was,
for the entrance.
so at the entrance was also another curtain.
Wow.
But now this curtain was skillfully and very beautifully embroidered.
Yes.
It was fine linen, but
Yeah.
it was embroidered with threads of red,
Uh-huh.
which is scarlet,
blue, and purple. Yeah.
Yes, and then these curtains hung on 5 posts, and these posts were actually they actually had they had the bases were made of silver, and then the top part was made of gold.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is such a great lesson. So I want you to make sure that you watch next time so we can be able to see what is behind the curtain. There are such amazing things that are behind the curtain. For now, I want everybody to stand up so we can be able to sing together.
Hi kids, it's time for us to sing our song. So everybody get up on your feet. We're gonna sing this song called Tabernacle. We sang it last time, but this time David is gonna play his guitar for us. So let's sing this song. God told Moses, I want you to build a place for me so I can stay with you. Build a tabernacle. What's a tabernacle? You've got the people, they have got the skills. Put them together, and then they will build a tabernacle. Not too big to tackle, but it's a big job. You're
So what a wonderful lesson we have learned, okay? So we can't wait to tell you what is inside the curtain, okay?
Yeah.
Because inside the curtain, there are so many other things. We've been talking about all the things that were outside, but right now we are going to, next time we're going to talk about all the things that are inside
and
the
they're
curtain.
actually very precious.
They are very precious.
Each and everything inside the tabernacle is very precious.
Yes, so we can't wait for you so that we can be able to see all the things that are actually inside the curtain.
Yeah.
So today what we are going to do is we are actually going to try and make a curtain.
Yeah.
Okay, and we have so many things that we are using today. Okay,
Yeah.
and all these things will just help us to make like a curtain so we can remember about all the curtains that were there.
Yes.
What were the colors of the curtains?
So the curtains actually were very pretty, and they had 3 colors. So we had scarlet, we had purple, and then we had blue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so those were the 3 colors that were used to make the curtain to the tabernacle.
Yes, and so what we have right here, this is crepe paper, which is purple, and that's what we are going to use.
Yeah.
Then we also have some ribbon, so we have red
This
or
is
scarlet.
red or scarlet,
Yes, and then we also have
Blue
ribbon. Okay, and that's what we are going to use. The other thing that we are also going to use is we are going to use some candles. Okay.
Yes.
And these candles represent the 4
The
pillars.
4 pillars that held the curtains to the tabernacle.
Yes, but now what we have done is we have taken 6 candles and then so we've put full candles, okay? And if you can see right here, there's some sellotape that we've put just to join them. So this is what you do. So you have a full candle and you cut it out and then you're able to stick it together. So we'll be able to stick that together. The other thing that we have is some sellotape, some glue, a ruler so that we can be able to measure. The paper that we are using, the manila paper, this was a full manila paper, okay? And then we folded it into 4 quarters. And then when you measure from one end to the other end, it's about 38 centimeters.
Yeah.
So you divide that by 4 so that you can know where to place your candles.
Or the pillars.
Yes, so now they are pillars.
Yeah.
And the reason why our candles are yellow is because they were made out, what we remember is that the pillars were made out of acacia wood
And then
they were overlaid with gold.
with gold,
Okay, so I think that's the things we'll use. The other thing that we are going to use, which is just you remember the bases? The bases for the pillars?
For the pillars,
You remember they were also overlaid with gold? Okay, the ones for the curtain right inside. So these are the bases. And what we are using is a little piece of container right here. But what this is, we've cut it out from an egg tray.
Yeah.
Okay, so this egg tray, what we've done, we cut out. This was a full egg tray right here. So we cut out on one end and then we were able to get a strip like this one. And then what we did is this strip, we were able to cut it out.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
So that strip, so you cut one edge so that you're left with that container right there. So you're able to cut this out. Okay? So after cutting that out, you put that aside and this is what you get. Okay, then you just cut off the tops.
Yeah.
You just actually cut off the tops, the 4 tops that are there.
Yeah.
And then you're left with that, and that is what we are going to use as a base.
Bases.
Yes, and that's what we're going to use as a base. And then what we have here is aluminium foil.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the very shiny side, one side is more shiny than the other. On the very shiny side is what is on top. So you put that little base and you make sure you cover it with aluminium foil. It's not such a big piece, so you make sure you cut off a piece of aluminium foil and then you're able to cover all your 4 bases. So there we have all our 4 bases. They are already colored. Covered. Okay.
So the reason we're using aluminium foil is because the bases for these pillars were actually made of silver.
Yes, the pillars for inside in the tabernacle were made of silver, but the ones outside were made of bronze. So we are going to start, okay? So what we need to remember is, first of all, let's make sure that we stick this candle. This is sellotape that we have. Teacher Rachel, I can see you're stapling your paper together.
Yes, I need my paper to be firm, so I'll just staple on the corners.
Yes.
Just to get it.
And then what I'm doing is I'm taking the candles, okay? The 2 pieces of candles, and I'm going to use some sellotape and make sure I'm able to stick the candle together so that now when we get this candle, we are able to, so that our pillar can be tall enough.
Bit longer,
Yeah, so it can be a little bit longer. So we just stick that, and then that's when now we have our 4 pillars. So we place them on different, like in the middle right there, so we can have all the 4 pillars stuck there. Okay? The other thing that I'm going to do is that, so to make sure that my pillars are sticking, is I'm going to get some more tape. Okay? Just cut tape and put it right there, right in the center, and I stick it and make sure it's stuck right there. Okay? So let's stick we make sure we stick all the pillars. These are candles, but we will still call them pillars because that's what they were. Okay? So after we
put them on the bases first.
We put them on the bases, okay?
Yes.
So we get the silver bases, and the silver base is even the first one that so you put it on the silver base. You remember it was right under, so you put it on the silver base, and when
Just
the
to
base
make
is
it
there,
stick.
yes, just to make it stick. So when you stick the candle with the sellotape, it's actually easier to put the silver base because the candle is already stuck. So there we go. We've stuck the candles. Or do we want to call them candles or we want to call them pillars?
Let's call them pillars because that's what they are for us right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm cutting tape, so that's a bit that I've cut there. Okay, and I've made sure that everything is equally laid. So I'll make sure that it's all aligned, and then I stick the candle, and then I make sure I put the other one out, and then I'm able to stick the candle, and then I will make sure that I put the silver base. Okay?
Wow.
So after you stick those candles, you make sure that you push in the silver base because they're already stuck on the manila.
Okay.
So you put in the silver base right there, and it's actually stuck. Okay? So there we have our pillars. Remember what we are making? We are making a curtain.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're making a curtain. So what you're trying to do is to get the pillars in place.
Yes, we are trying to get the pillars in place, okay? So then we take the red ribbon, okay?
Wow.
So this red ribbon will make sure that we stick it on the candles, you know? So I'll get some tape, or even whatever you're able to use. You can use the tape, you can use the glue, and make sure that you're able to, make sure the curtain, so one end, you put some glue, the other end you put some glue. So you can either put the glue or even the sellotape, but just make sure it's right at the top. Okay, right at the top, because the curtain was coming all the way from the top.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I make sure I put that, and I stick one end and I stick the other end. Okay, just making sure that they're sticking. The other thing that I'll also do is put some glue on the candles. Yeah, because we don't want this curtain looking like it's coming out.
Or
Okay,
it's hanging.
or it's hanging, you know. So when you put some glue right there,
Yeah.
the curtain actually sticks
yeah.
in. Okay, so that was scarlet. I've already put some scarlet right there. The other color that we'll take is the purple.
The purple.
Yes, so the same thing, we make sure we put, you know, some glue at the end right there. And then even on the candles, we make sure we put glue so that when we end up sticking the other ribbon, it's able to stick right there. Okay, so it sticks at the end, then it's also able to stick right there on the candles. Okay, you know, sometimes you have to hold glue down so it can stick.
Oh yeah.
So the other thing that now we have is color
blue.
And we do the exact same thing. On the side of the manila, we put glue, and then on the candles, we make sure we put some glue, and then we take the blue, and we make sure that when we are sticking the ribbons, that they are very close to one another.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's the best way to be able to see the beauty of all these colors mixed together. So when we are done with the three colors, then we start all over again.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go and take our scarlet, and then make sure we've put glue on the manila paper and also on the candles. Okay, and then make sure we stick the scarlet again on the other end. So we keep going until we get to the end. Okay, so the other thing that we'll do now is get after the scarlet, then we use the purple ribbon.
It's very pretty.
It is
I like
very
the
pretty.
colours.
Even me, I like the way the colors are looking like.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then now we'll take the last ribbon and then be able to put some glue. Okay, and then I'll just be able to stick that right there. Okay, so make sure that there's glue on the manila, and then there's also glue on the candles. Yes, so everything is able to stick. Okay. Okay, so amazingly, that's our craft for today. Okay, so you're able to see. The other thing that I want to do is I want to make sure my crates, my, what do you call this? The bases are actually stuck. Because you know sometimes mine are moving because they were not stuck. So I'll just get some tape and then just make sure the bases are stuck right there. Okay, because the sellotape actually helps. Okay? So kids, that is our craft for today, okay? And what you'll remember is that right under there, you're able to see a bit of the pillar.
Yeah.
Okay? And you can tell the gold on the pillars, and at the bottom, you can tell that those are the bases were actually made out of silver. Yes, I love the colors. They're so beautiful.
They're so pretty.
Yes, so that is our craft for today. I hope you'll actually put in an effort and try and make this just to remind you about the beautiful colors that the curtains were made of.
Yes, and then specifically these were the curtains to the tabernacle.
Yes, these ones were the curtains going into the tabernacle.
Yeah.
So next time we are going to go together into the tabernacle and see all the beautiful things that were inside the tabernacle.
Yeah.
So that's it for today. Bye.